Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, I'm excited to get a spare tire delete installed on this Jeep JK. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why are you not going to take a spare tire with you? And it's a valid question. But unfortunately, this Jeep, when we got it, the wheels on it are now, they're aftermarket wheels. We can't find the same wheel. And we're always wheeling together. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put a spare tire delete on this Jeep that will allow us to carry some gas with us when we're out on the trail. And then in addition to that, we'll make sure that we're carrying a really high quality tire plug kit and sidewall repair kit. Glue Treads, awesome brand, check them out. We ordered a JCR Offroad Jeep JK spare tire delete. And what that's gonna allow us to do, we're gonna take this spare tire carrier off. We're gonna put a mounting plate on the back of this tailgate that will then allow us to put some RotopaX mounts on there and carry a couple of slim gas cans on the back here. That's gonna be good for us because a lot of the times we are down in southern Utah camping off the grid. Like I said, usually we have several vehicles with us, so just having one Jeep that can carry some extra gas and then having several others with spares will be good to go. To do this job, you'll need a few tools. To start, make sure that you have a socket wrench or an impact driver, one of the two, an extension. You could get away with a 3-inch extension, but whatever you have works. Socket-wise, you'll need an 11 millimeter, a 13 millimeter, and a 14 millimeter socket, along with a T20 Torx bit and a 5 millimeter Allen head or Allen key, whatever you want to call it. The last couple tools you'll need is a set of electrical pliers, just something that you can crimp with and strip wires with, and then a pair of needle nose pliers just in case we have some trouble with the electrical plug on that third brake light. I have a feeling it might be a little tight getting off. And then in addition to that, JCR sends all of the necessary bolts, washers, hardware, and of course the mounting plate. One thing I will note, the RotopaX mounts, these did not come with the JCR kit, so we purchased these separately. Let's go ahead and we'll pull the spare tire carrier off right now. To get started, I've got a 13 millimeter socket on here. We're just gonna take these bolts out of the spare tire carrier. This is where an extension comes in handy. Now on the back of the spare tire carrier, you'll see that there are some Torx screws. So we'll go ahead and use our T20 to remove these. So we've gone ahead and removed those 4 Torx screws out of the back. That's allowed us to access the electrical plug for the third brake light. We'll go ahead and pull that out. And now that's free and the spare tire carrier is removed. So we can set this aside. Now there's definitely gonna be a little bit of dirt and grime after you pull that spare tire carrier off. So we're just gonna take a minute and clean that up before we install the new plate. The next thing we'll want to do before we get the plate on there is remove the bump stops here. And these just pull out. Now we're going to remove the vent right here. This is just held in by some plastic tabs, so easy to pull out. Just kind of work each corner. We're not in a hurry. Well, maybe you are, but I'm not. There you go. Vents removed. Now that we have the rear vent off, this is all cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this plug. I know, scary, but grab your electrical pliers. And then we're gonna pop this grommet out right here, this rubber grommet. Nice and easy like that. Open the tailgate and come on over in here. We're gonna remove this panel right here. I'm gonna use a flathead screwdriver, just help me pop those tabs out. So now you'll see that the third brake light wiring comes to another plug here. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that plug out, unplug it, I mean, just like that. And then we're gonna feed it back through the hole. Now, I'm sure some of you will have a better way of doing this, but this is how I am going to create my own new harness. Because this grommet, it looks like the wires are actually kind of glued in this grommet. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off this end. preserving that plug because we want to reuse this plug. And then we'll go over to my workbench and I'm going to splice. I'm actually going to reuse the same wiring and just re-splice this together. And so again, I've already cut off the inside of this plug. We're going to go ahead and snip off the wiring on the outside of it as well. Okay. We have our JCR Offroad supplied plug for their new third brake light. We're going to go ahead and splice that onto this end. So let's do that now. So I'm just going to start by resplicing the plug back with the wiring harness here. So nice and simple. JCR sends a bunch of different electrical connectors. So I'm going to use this. These are really nice. We'll start by stripping these real quick. Okay. We'll kind of tidy up these ends. We'll insert that one. We're going to crimp that. These connectors are great. They make it really simple. Okay. And now we'll do another one. Make sure that's got a good crimp on there. Give it a tug. Now we'll go to the other side and make sure you reconnect them to the correct wires. So we'll take solid black. That's going to go back to the solid black. And we'll crimp that other side. Okay, there we go. And same thing. Again, just double check. We've got the yellow white wire going to the yellow white wire. And we'll crimp that other side. Make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, there we go. Now, the great thing about these types of connectors is I can use a little bit of heat, and it actually has heat shrink wrapping around there, so that will weatherproof this connection. So let me grab a lighter and we'll do that now. All right, so we're just going to heat that up and you'll see it shrink. It's pretty cool stuff. You'll start to see it working on that bottom one. See how it shrinks that. And you don't need to light it on fire. You just got to keep it hot, and it'll, as it melts, it gets a little translucent, so you can tell when it's totally connected to the wire below. Yep, and you can see it tighten around the wire on the inside there. You can see how it's tightened up against both wires there. So we've got a nice solid connection. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to splice in the JCR plug that's supplied. This is what's going to plug into the new third brake light. So same thing, I'm just going to clean up the ends here, get it ready to splice. We'll do the same thing with the JCR plug. Now, they do have an attachment here, but I'm not going to use that, so we'll just snip that off. Get a nice... We'll tidy up the ends, just like we did on the other piece. Now, I want to point this out because it's confusing to me, and it's probably going to be confusing to you. The JCR plug has a solid black coated wire and a solid white colored wire. If you wind up doing this install, make sure that you double check your instructions. Whatever wire on your original harness has the yellow line in it needs to connect to the solid black wire on the JCR plug. And then the solid white wire on the JCR plug is going to connect to the solid black wire on your original harness. I'm going to use a little bit of a different connector just for convenience. Same idea. Just going to crimp that. Now for the plug. So now again, remember, it is going to be confusing depending on what your JK has for your harness wires. As per the instructions from JCR, we're going to take the solid black wire from the JK original wiring, and that's going to go into the white wire of their plug. And then on the original wiring, you should have a wire that has a yellow, that's either black and yellow or white and yellow, and that's going to plug into the solid black wire on the JCR harness. I've used a plug connection here, so that's just going to allow me to, if I ever need to, undo this, I can. So what I'll do is just tape this with some electrical tape, and then we'll be done with this part. So we have the JCR supplied plug on this end, and we've just reconnected the original harness back to the original plug for the inside of the tailgate. So let's go ahead and put this back where it needs to go. Plug that back into the tailgate. And then we will feed this through. Now we're ready to move on to the next step. Now we're going to assemble the rear brake light and place it into the spare tire delete plate. Take this rubber grommet, and this needs to be pushed in here. It should fit securely. There's an inner lip in there that's going to catch as you seat it fully. And then we'll go ahead and push this through as well. We've pressed in the brake light into the rubber grommet. That's all secure. Now we're going to flip it so that it is facing outward. This is how it's going to sit on the Jeep, just like that. And it will be easier for me to do this before I install it on the back of the tailgate. So I'm going to go ahead and mount the RotopaX mounts right now. These RotopaX mounts come with supplied bolts. They're also going to use a 13mm socket. Don't forget your washer, folks. Now that we have the RotopaX mounts installed, we'll go ahead and affix this plate to the tailgate and we are done. So to get that started, I'm going to go ahead and take the plug. That's just going to plug directly into the back here. Now, before I bolt this back up, I just wanted to share something that I did. So I went ahead and took some of this clear protective tape. I use this sometimes on door sills or other places that are prone to getting scratches. And I've gone ahead and put some pieces on the back of this steel plate so that it's not directly on the paint. That's something that you don't have to do. You know, that's not included in the hardware they send, but it's something that I do just because I'm type A and like to keep things nice. Now I should mention that JCR does supply some button head bolts, these ones, and that's what you would need the 5mm Allen wrench for. But I'm going to opt to use the original hardware just to keep it looking clean. And I like to have bolts on my Jeep and not have to worry about using an Allen head if I have to take this off ever. Get these all started by hand, of course. Now, just like anything, you don't want to tighten one all the way up before you tighten the others. So I'm going to do a bit of a star pattern and just move around as we tighten this up. For the last tightening, I'm going to use a socket wrench here just so that I don't break a bolt or over torque any of these. Really, you just need these hand tight. You don't need to go crazy on the torque. So that's what we're doing. Last but not least, let's see how it fits these RotopaX cans. There's one. And that's a wrap, everybody. As you saw, it's a pretty simple install. While I'm not affiliated with JCR Offroad, I do think they offer a great product if you're looking to run a spare tire delete on your Jeep JK. If you're interested in that, check them out. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching. Have fun out there, be safe, and please stay on the trails. We'll see you next time.